What is up, winning team? Stay tuned for this one. It's going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about child stars and this transition into adulthood and why I believe that this society is so toxic, honestly, when it comes to children. Despite everybody acting like they actually care about kids, I don't think that's the case. I'm not going to lie to you. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about it in terms of Jojo Siwa and Demi Lovato. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be doing a lyric review. We're going to Jojo Siwa, Karma, and Demi Lovato, Swine. Because I'm going to say some things that if the rest of the adult population could stop for a second and not be reacting out of their own pain and trauma and actually hear out what's going on, we would realize some things that would actually make society better, not just for them, but also for you. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you didn't know, and this is what kind of spurred this video on, Jojo Siwa, who is very popularly known to be on the show Dance Moms, which is a show that had a bunch of young ladies who were dancing for Abby Lee Miller's dance company, who's a very controversial figure because she was very harsh on the girls. They cried a lot of the time. And the show thrived because of how mean Abby was and how dramatic and chaotic and just problematic the mothers were on the show, thus it being called Dance Moms. Later years we discovered that was a requirement and that the toxic environment was encouraged by the producers, obviously, to make good TV. She then has become more famous because of that and done a lot of her own stuff, very popularly known to always be wearing a bow in her hair and a very, what we would call, appropriate for children type of character, very youthful. And then now a lot of people start to speak about her because she was caught up with the Colleen Ballinger situation, because her and Colleen were like friends. And again, from where I'm sitting, I'm like, why were we encouraging this in the first place? I've seen a lot of these actual things more than other people who are commenting on it have. I watched Dance Moms and I used to watch a lot of Colleen's videos at a certain point because she was doing all this content about working and being a mother. And I thought it was so interesting to see somebody who is working in the field that she works in and is also prioritizing being there for her children. And she talked a lot about how, while her son is awake during the day, she's very much focused on her family. During the night, she's very much focused on her work. But what she didn't speak about, but I realized over time because of just watching, like the rest of everybody else who was tuning in and for all the millions of views she was getting, that she seemed to have a really inappropriate relationship when it came to children and young people. Because I'm like, how is a young woman like Jojo, how were they friends? And so that's like my first point of this whole thing is like, it's one, now that everybody's upset with Jojo for how she switched, I'm like, and I'm going to come back to what people think about that in a minute when we go through the lyrics of her song Karma. I'm like, nobody had anything to say when she was having a relationship with Colleen and Colleen was being inappropriate. Because I stopped watching Colleen because of this. I was like, I can't be a part of this. For the same reason I felt like that about Charli D'Amelio. And so many of these other young girls that were on like TikTok and this and that, doing all these like sexual dances. And the adult community, not only were they not saying this is inappropriate, were copying the same dance routines. We're encouraging this. We're forging inappropriate relationships with children. But then now when it becomes a scandal, now we want to act like we care about kids again. But I'm like, where was all of this energy? That's why I never got involved with the Charli D'Amelio and all this TikTok dancing stuff. Because I was like, I can't watch another child dancing inappropriately because it literally destroys my soul because I actually care about the kids. So anyway, no one had anything to say then. But then now, because she's an adult, and this is what happens. There's something I find so interesting about society. Like when children need to be protected and need to be guided and need to have healthy boundaries put around them, like with Jojo, no one's doing it. But then now when she turns out to be how she is now at 19 years old and as an adult, everyone's like, she's learnt nothing, Jojo's learnt nothing, Jojo's this. I'm like, what was she supposed to learn from where when there's literally millions of people encouraging the poor behavior she had, inappropriate behavior as a child. But now because if her birthday, this is one of the things I think is stupid things of society. How is it that we do this? Today is, I think, the 11th of April, right? The 11th of April. Let's imagine my birthday is the 12th of April and I'm 17. So what we're saying is right now, if as a 17-year-old, I'm not responsible for myself. I'm a child, right? But at 11, and that is until 11:59 and 59 seconds. But at exactly midnight, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to have everything figured out because now I'm an adult. That's how stupid the world is. That's actually how stupid the world is. We actually and I genuinely believe, and said this before and I'll say it again, I genuinely believe today there are a lot of parents and adults who are taking advantage of we just need to get you to 18, and once you're 18, we can't be held accountable for nothing anymore. Now it's all on you, and now you need to figure it out because you're an adult. Cool, that's fine. But then whatever they figure out, that's what they're figuring out, right? Because you have nothing to do with it, so maybe you shouldn't be commenting. Isn't it convenient how all of a sudden, as soon as that 1 second passes, all of a sudden you go from other people are responsible for you had 100% responsible for yourself. Let's look at the lyrics, because I want to talk about what people were saying and why I just literally can't stand this planet, honestly. I just can't. So, song's called Karma. Apparently, it was actually written originally for... Actually, we'll come back to that in a minute, will we? It was originally recorded by Miley Cyrus in 2011, and then it was recorded by another young lady called Britt Smith, which people are finding out about now because of this song. And the other version of this song, I think, is actually more appropriate. There's a few little things about Jojo's version that I find really interesting. Like, the way the song actually starts, when you listen to it, it reminds me a lot of the song by Destiny's Child, Survivor, how it starts in the beginning. It sounds really similar, and there's a reason I'm mentioning this, because I feel like there's a theme with these child stars that transition into being adults who do these kinds of songs, like the Demi Lovato Swine. So let's read the lyrics. And this is what people are upset about. And then I'll read to you guys the comments that people left under the video. So we've got, I was a bad girl. I did some bad things. I swear I did it all for fun and it meant nothing. It never happened. It was a secret. Like when a tree falls in the forest, no one hears it. Another late night, another crazy mood. And I didn't think twice what it would do to you. I was a wild child. You always knew it. It was a matter of time before I blew it. First of all, a lot of people have been saying, like, what does she mean she was a wild child? She was in bows and this. This is how I know society is actually stupid, because I'm like, so when she was in all these relationships, what do you think that she was doing in her relationship? Do you think that her and her girlfriends and her being in a relationship, because a lot of people are like, is this song targeted at Avery Cyrus? Because her and Avery Cyrus were in a relationship until Avery was 23, Jojo was 19, which I feel like at certain ages as people, particularly us young women, 19 and 23 is a big difference. As a young woman, I can't even lie to you, like just the same way 18 and 21 is quite a big difference. 18 and 25 is a big difference, right? And not the same way that, like, not even in the same way that a lot of other ages are different, because the older you get, the more your ability, I feel like, in my humble opinion, your you mature more quickly and you're more of an adult, right? That first stages of coming into adulthood, I think, takes a little while, more than just that 1 second between 11:59 and 59 seconds the day before your birthday and the 1 second after. So when people are like, oh, she wasn't a wild child, I was like, well, what do you think she was doing behind the scenes? And obviously it wasn't appropriate, and probably her management. And this is where it comes into, for me, I'm like, anyway, the management and whatnot, and people probably weren't encouraging or promoting or talking about the things that she was doing behind the scenes, because it's probably inappropriate because she was a child and she had a child audience. Now that she's an adult, they can do whatever they want. So does it surprise me that Hollywood has picked up a song from like 13 years ago, changed some of the lyrics and given it to her? No, it doesn't, because that's what they do now. She's an adult. If they're going to continue to utilize her, she probably doesn't want to wear the bows and stuff anymore. She probably wasn't even wearing the freaking bows before. She's probably doing adult activities behind the scenes because she's got no boundaries. And I'm just like, where are the freaking parents, is what I'm always wondering with these questions. But anyway, so yeah, people are like, what do you mean she was a bad girl? I'm like, are you stupid? Like, literally. Anyway, the pre-chorus, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not cheat, thou shalt not get caught, or you'll end up just like me. Oh. Yeah. And then she goes on to sing Karma's a B word. I should have known better. If I had a wish, I would have never effed around. When I saw the pics of you and her, I felt the knife twist. Karma's a B, and she's with you right now. So first of all, the biblical thing. Yeah. Am I surprised that she's talking about biblical things? No, because I truly believe that everybody who doesn't know God deep down is searching for him. And for people like these child stars, I truly believe for them, a lot of them are actually crying out in their music. One thing I think that people miss about being a creative, being a musician, an artist, a singer, an actor, whatever, a writer, people are expressing something that is real. If you're good at it, you're expressing something real. That's why even when people are like, oh my gosh, the people making fun of her doing the dance, I would like to see at least even just 50% of the people making videos making fun of her do the choreography of the whole video. Because actually even though I may not love how she's doing the choreography, I think that she's very skilled to pull off that type of choreography. So all these people laughing at her, making fun of her, I'm like, you can't even do what she's doing. I would like to see you do the other parts, because you're picking the convenient parts to try and make fun of. Try and do exactly what she did in the whole video, for starters. So again, it's the classic thing about society, which is society loves to have somebody else to laugh at. Somebody, because it makes you feel good about yourself. I did a whole video about pride. You guys should watch it. It's a long video, but it's a good video. And then also, this just crying out to the Lord, because these kids don't have anything. Like, why do you think so many of these child stars, when they get to become adults, are doing all of this acting out business? It's not that they've lost the way. It's that they never had a way, because they never had people looking after them, because they didn't have adults that were giving them the correct boundaries and correct protections for them to have grown up safely. And now they're just thrust into the world with lost and figuring out and realizing that they've been through a lot of stuff that people aren't going to believe. They're going through all these critiques, because the things that people have written under this video are crazy. Like, look, this is what people are writing under the video. This is society that's like, we care about mental health. Yeah. What do the comments say? 25k likes. What the F does she look like? Why the F does she look like a Power Ranger villain? 28k likes. I should have stayed curious. Then there's all these comments. I see what I was saying. 25k likes. I was a bad girl. Then it says, girl, you wore pink dresses and sold glittery bows at Walmart. Are you people stupid? Like, people are so stupid, like, genuinely. People keep saying things like, you have 83 missed calls from Abby Lee Miller, and I did see Abby respond to this. As the lesbian, I'm embarrassed. I did some bad things, like putting your face all over your car. Why did she come out the water like Pennywise? Jojo, have you learned nothing? Mum, I told you it's not a phase. This is what people are writing. I was a bad girl. Girl, you made a tutorial on YouTube for a high ponytail to give little kids headaches. 13k likes. Girl went from pink sparkly unicorns and bows to gay electric tight tracksuit spider. Do people actually think that's what's happened? This was always on the inside of her. Now that she's an adult, she was already a child being treated like an adult, which is what happens to a lot of these child stars. They have adult expectations. This is what happens when you don't treat children in an appropriate manner. They have to be, you can't be their friends. Look, I have worked with hundreds of kids in my job as a teacher, right? You want to be their friends, and you want to let them do stuff, and sometimes you tell them they can't do stuff that they want to do, but you have to do it for them, because you have to do what you need to do, because you know it's for the best for them for the long run, and that 10, 20, 30 years from now, they will thank you for actually putting those boundaries around them. You can't just pick and choose, and this happens a lot with kids who are seen to be mature or in certain types of situations. You treat them like a child when it suits you, and you treat them like an adult when it suits you. So when she's doing all this work and making all these people money, it's like all these child stars, they're an adult now. They need to show up to work, they need to do whatever. When you now want to judge them, whatever, now they're a child now that needs to listen. How does that work? It's confusing. They should be treated in an appropriate manner from the very beginning. And we also need to think about the fact, and I've been thinking about this quite a lot, like about this whole child star thing, if I even think that should be a thing, because I've been thinking, well, they're not yet at an age where they can give consent. If we're saying they can't give consent, then maybe they don't want to have had their whole business plastered all over the internet. I think this sometimes about like these family channels, because I've thought before, like, when I have children, do I want to put them on the internet and stuff? But then I think they can't truly give consent. And if I'm waiting, I'm showing them off and everything. I'm not saying it's bad that people do it necessarily. I'm just saying that we've got to be realistic. We've got to be fair. That we have to understand that the risk of putting them out there is that now everybody's out there. So yeah, she didn't choose all of this. Before her age of consent, she was already being put out there on TV, on the internet, on whatever. Now that she's doing what she wants to do, now everybody's flipping. I'm just saying. So let's read some more of her lyrics. Do we need to read any more of Ready Enough? Yeah, so I guess maybe Avery moved on, and Avery was taking all of this seriously to heart. Like, oh my gosh, like, I'm like, what did you actually expect from a 19-year-old child star? Like, realistically, What did you expect from her? Like, as in, and I don't mean that in a horrible way. I just mean she's still basically a kid. She still needs to have time to like wake up into adulthood. She has had no boundaries. She's now just all over the place. Because like sometimes it's like what I was saying to you guys about the Britney Spearses and the Beyoncés, and or rather, let me use the example of Kim Kardashian. People will say like, oh, Kim Kardashian shouldn't be naked on the internet, and even Kanye went through his issues with her and whatever. But then it's like, what do you expect when her own mother was the one who was the executive producer and director of her daughter's sex tape and made her do it again? Where on earth is she supposed to learn to value herself and how to value her body other than her parents, in particular, her own mother? So when your peoples in society think, how come she's not listening? Because it's been normalized, because they've got rich off of it, because that's what they do. And can we that stupid at this point in society that we can't understand that something like that for me is so simple? Of course, Kim Kardashian and so many of these women are doing what they're doing. Of course, these guys are off the rails, because where is the wisdom? Where are the wise adults? Where are the mothers, the aunties, the grandmas, the whatevers that are teaching them like, you don't need to do this like this? Where is that happening? When I was in Italy, guys, so you guys will know that I went to Italy. My friend, she has a daughter, she's 13. And we went shopping because her daughter was going to be going to like this place with her friends, and her daughter wanted to get some swimsuits, right? And I respect my friend highly for the way she dealt with the situation, because, oh my gosh, excuse me, because her daughter wanted to buy some swimsuits that were, I would agree, so inappropriate for a 13-year-old to be wearing. And she stood her ground. She says, if this is what you're going to get, we're not getting anything. Was her daughter happy? No. Did she go off and be like really annoyed that her mom, she was like, if this is what you're going to buy, we're not doing this. And she didn't. She didn't fold. She didn't falter. Because you know why? One day her daughter will realize, thank God that my mum, even if her daughter goes on to do it, it's not that she said she couldn't have any swimsuit, because she was about to buy it. We literally only went out shopping that day for the swimsuits. That was the only reason we even went out. She was like, this is inappropriate. This is something that an adult woman would wear, not something that my 13-year-old child is going to wear as a swimsuit. So they had a whole argument about it. Her daughter walked off and everything and whatever. And she was like, I'm standing my ground. Like, we're not doing this. You're 13. You don't need to be dressed like this. And we're not doing it. End of story. Right? And her, my friend, very gorgeous, stunning, gorgeous woman. She sings opera. She's absolutely fabulous, wears the most incredible whatever. And her daughter also is very able to wear stuff. She's not out here walking around in a nun's outfit. You know, I mean, she still wears things that like, you know, teenage girls wear. But her mum was like, you've crossed the line now, and we're not doing this at 13 and not in my household. And I was like, good. It's nice to see the women, like, rather than just being like, yeah, let's just do everything and then wonder why your daughter turns out to be a whore, actually standing their ground and being like, no, we're not doing this because I'm your parent. You might not be happy about this right now, but in the future, you will appreciate that I valued your body and I understood something more than you did, and that you were about to be going out in public. And yeah, of course you can wear a swimsuit. No one's saying you can't wear a swimsuit, but you can't be wearing these types of like super overly sexy bikinis that are like, do you know what I'm saying? And I was like, good for you. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what these young women need. They need mothers. They don't need all of this like, oh, just do whatever you want. This is fun. Like, that's what I'm saying with all these Britney Spears and Beyonce's. I'm like, how have we even got to this point? How is it that your own parents, because this is what people say, they'll be like, it's all about like, oh, the mommy, the daddy issues, mommy issues. It's the mummies and the daddies for both Beyonce and Britney Spears, right? Britney, who has been affected because she decided not to be a puppet, and Beyonce, who's been affected because she's been the perfect puppet, right? It was both of their parents encouraging all of this behavior that they put out there for the sake of money. They're prepared to sacrifice their kids for the sake of success. And this is what happens a lot of the time. And this is what I feel like is happening here. Kids are being sacrificed for the sake of success. And then we're wondering, when they become adults, what happened? What happened is they didn't have a childhood. What happened is there were children who were treated as adults when it suited the people and treated as kids when it suited them. Why on earth is Britney Spears' dad, when Britney was talking about how her dad encouraged this, that, and the other behavior, and then I hear people in society talking about, oh, girls and daddy issues. I was like, daddy issues? Sometimes daddy be the one telling you to do what you're doing, encouraging what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like with Beyonce, like even Beyonce and her mum, I saw that Beyonce's mum was even the one who, like Jay-Z's, Beyonce's dad didn't like Jay-Z, obviously, because it was competition. Beyonce's mum loved Jay-Z. Beyonce's mum was encouraging Beyonce to be with Jay-Z whilst Jay-Z was actually on probation, and I think it was for stabbing someone. So when people are like, how did you do this? It's like, well, when the two people that brought you into this planet are not doing anything and are the ones you're supposed to trust, the ones that you would automatically, scientifically, will naturally trust and listen to the most, are either encouraging the bad behavior or allowing the bad behavior to continue, what do you expect? Like, I just think it's so stupid. Like, I honestly just think it's so dumb. Like, when I was reading these comments, I was just like, let's look at Demi Lovato's song Swine. And I feel like this is going to take us to the deeper level of what's truly going on here. Now, Demi Lovato, in to have the background of this and why I'm picking her, she, again, another child star, another super talented person, genuinely so talented. Now, something that stuck out to me, and the thing that I've heard about her that stuck out to me the most in her childhood, she was very much known for being in Camp Rock, which was one of these shows that was very popular when I was a child, alongside things like High School Musical and all that, or child/teenager or whatever. And I remember that I heard her talking about in one of her videos, this is before she started changing her gender all the time, which she flip-flops between all these different genders, and we're going to talk about that in a second as well. I remember specifically her talking about how once upon a time she said to somebody on set somebody on set basically said to her, what could you possibly be going through at your age? Because she was maybe like 16, 15, whatever. So again, we say we care about kids, we say we want to protect them, we want to look after them, but then when kids are going through stuff, we discredit what they've experienced. She has been sexually abused by people on that very set. She's spoken about it. So she's spoken about that. Does society care? No, they don't, right? And let's listen to the comments under this video. This video by Demi Lovato called Swine, which I'm going to read it in a minute, the lyrics. People are judging her. People saying, oh, she's gone off the rails. We missed the old Demi. What old Demi? Old Demi is dead, and old Demi is dead because old Demi didn't have adults looking after her. Where are the mothers today is my question. How is it that and this always happens, when these kids go through these stages, no one stops to look at anybody else other than them. As soon as they cross over in that little one split second and they become an adult. And I say this, by the way, guys, for those of you who are adults who have kids maybe the same age as these type of people, I'm saying the same for you because a lot of you have experienced the same thing. It's the brokenness of society. That's why I'm not blaming any particular generation or anything. It's the brokenness of society as a whole. It's not like I'm not saying like, oh, it's on the boomers or it's on the this. No, it's something that a lot of people of all generations who are alive today have struggled with. So let's look at the lyrics and I'll tell you guys what I think. She says, so she came from doing Camp Rock and things like that, so random, all these shows on Disney Channel, whatever. She starts making music as an adult. Very good. She's very naturally talented in my humble personal opinion. And fast forward, she's changing her genders all the time. She's struggling with all these different addictions. She's really struggling. Which again, I get. You're just thrust into this the adultness. The adults that were there and supposed to protect you as a kid and give you a stable foundation to build on for when you become an adult weren't, for whatever reason, because they were making more money off of, and I'm not just talking about family in this case, I'm talking about the industry as well. I want to make that very clear. Now, where do you turn to? And I really believe these guys are actually both really crying out to God. I really believe that a lot of these people crying out to God because they've realized they have nobody else. She says, God forbid I want to suck whatever the F I want to. God forbid I want to F whoever the F I want to. And if he ejaculates, I guess I got to be a mother. F what I think. I don't know a thing. The government knows my body. No, it's okay. It's better this way. I'm only a carbon copy. Even if I'm dying, they'll still try to stop me. Do we even hear ourselves? My life, my voice, my rights, my choice. It's mine, or I'm just swine. My blood, my loins, my lungs, my noise. It's mine, or I'm just swine. Picture your faith, imagine your God, and even your holy Bible is suddenly banned. Do you understand? Now, doesn't that sound entitled? It's your book, but it's my survival. We got to grow them. We got to raise them. We got to feed and bathe them. And if you won't, they call you a witch to burn at the stake in Salem. Thought by now they'd change, but we're still waiting. This is deep. If you guys don't, I wouldn't recommend listening to this song, by the way, but I have listened to it because I like to listen, because I feel like when you listen to the way these people perform these songs, you can hear the real voice that's behind it. She's a woman who's crying out because she's trying to find a way to take back control that she feels like was lost from people, the way that they treated her. She's, again, wrestling with God. Notice how interesting it is that for Jojo Siwa mentions, thou shalt not cheat, thou shalt not this, scriptures that come from the Bible. And now here, picture your faith, imagine your God, and even your Holy Bible is suddenly banned. Do you understand? Now doesn't that sound entitled? It's kind of like, so she's saying, while I want to have all these rights to myself, my right, my voice, my body, my choice, whatever she's saying, imagine if those who she feels are judging her, which I believe she's referring to the church, which, again, guys, I'm a Bible-believing, Holy Spirit-filled follower of Jesus Christ. I understand where she's coming from. I 100% understand where she's coming from, because it's true that, yes, a lot of Christian people, a lot of Bible believers are very judgmental. I don't judge these. I don't see myself as better than Demi or Jojo. I just want to be very clear about that either. I don't, because I understand their circumstances. I understand, and the only reason I even have the relationship I have with God is because God isn't like humans, and they are the product of the world. I say this to people all the time. I get complimented sometimes by people like, oh wow, you're like this, you're so intelligent, you're so mature, you have such great manners, you're this. I'm like, I am the product of the love, patience, wisdom, boundaries, guidance of a loving Father known as God. I am saved by the blood of the unconditional love of Jesus, who I have betrayed, who I have had lacked faith in, and everything. I am not anything just because it came out from nowhere. I am everything good about me that is good about me is because of the Lord. Because of his fatherhood, because he cares about me, because he's patient, because he teaches me things. He doesn't get upset at me. You know what I love about God so much? I love that God is the most gracious person I've ever known in my entire life. God literally is the one person I know I can rely on to be understanding and know that I am genuinely doing my best, and treat me with love and gentleness and care. Also conviction, because when the Lord convicts me, it can be quite scary as well. I'm not going to lie, but it's part of the balance of having that guidance and wisdom is, yes, you have the love and the patience and the kindness, and when it is appropriate, the conviction, the boundaries, the word no. God has said no to me before. In times where I'm like, how have you just said no to me right now? I'll give you guys a real serious example, because this is what I'm saying when it talks about looking after kids and the types of boundaries. When I was going through having a miscarriage, right? And this is the most painful thing I've ever endured in my life. And I've experienced so many pains. I've had breaks, sprains, piercings, dislocations, you name it. And I prayed to God. I was like, God, take this pain away from me, please. Which always works on my period, by the way. Just pray my pain away and it goes. And he said no. He said no. And he let me sit in pain for like 6 weeks. In excruciating pain. And you know what he said? I need you to understand what it means to have a womb as a woman. I need you to understand what is happening inside your body right now. So no, I'm not taking that pain away. And thank God. Because that's why I'm not out here doing what a lot of other people are doing. Because I have the fatherhood and the wisdom and the responsibility of the Lord, who is looking after me and taking it seriously. So when I'm saying all this stuff, these people are crying out because they're lacking, they're lost. As far as the world is concerned, they only care about them when they're making music and doing what you want them to do. Like with Jojo. Oh, when Jojo was making all this music with the bows and everything, everybody liked it. And people even saying under her video, they were like, we want you to go back to how you were before. I miss this Jojo. Yeah, you selfish person. You just want what you wanted. You never cared about her. You were never a true fan. You just cared about what you were getting out of it. Selfish. Even under Demi's video. Y'all remember when she used to sing at summer camp? The fact, you know what I'm saying? All of this stuff. Why do you think that Demi is singing like this, you guys? Do you think that she's really just off the rails? She's in pain. She feels unseen and unheard. in this world. And the best way she knows how to deal with it is by the thing that she's always done and she's always been required to do, which is performing. That's why people will say, oh, well, maybe this shouldn't have been put in a song. Maybe this shouldn't. Where was it supposed to be put? And some of these people were brought up and taught since they were kids that this is the way that they're supposed, that what you do is perform. That's what you do here. So they don't have another framework. They haven't been taught any other framework. As somebody who teaches, educates people, it is shocking how many times I ask kids. I'll be like, it can be basic things like manners. I'll be like, has anybody ever explained that to you? And I ask them all the time, has anybody ever explained that to you before? Like before I say it. They'll be like, and they'll look at you as if like, I genuinely didn't know that. Like it wasn't good for me to do that. Like I genuinely didn't know. Meanwhile, the adult population, a lot of the times will be just complaining. Yeah, but you're not doing anything. You're just complaining. And it's like you're expecting kids to do something that's never been taught to them. That'd be like God putting us on this planet without the Bible. I just don't. And so yeah, I'm not even going to get into the comments. And somebody even put under here in a scripture, one of these Christian folks, Matthew 12:36, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people give account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you'll be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. That's so true. But so will we be held accountable for the times when we were supposed to be the ones they're loving. And this same Matthew that is being quoted here with this scripture is the same Matthew that had where Jesus talks about how he looked upon. Where is my Bible? Where is my Bible? Like, where's this Bible, man? I don't remember. Actually, I could just search on my laptop. The same Bible that talks about when Jesus looked upon the people and he could see that they were hopeless and helpless, with like sheep without a shepherd. And he was filled with what? Compassion for the people. He was filled with compassion. And what did he say? Their harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. And so that we should pray for the Lord to send laborers into the harvest. What is he saying? The people are in need. In need. So what is our job? Yes, we identify things that do not come from God. Great. That's an even more important time where we need to put God into it and not just say these careless this and these careless that. Do you think that somebody like Demi Lovato needs even more critique? These child stars who everybody has everything to say about them, the tabloids, the YouTubers, the world, the industry, and people around them encouraging them because they're all enjoying the holidays and the private jets they get to go on from you making all this stuff and making all this money. And in fact, all the negative comments are even better because what did they say? What is it? Fame is fame, whether it's good or bad. I don't know what the phrase is. I can't remember the phrase. They love this because if people are upset, that's even more ways they're going to make money. So with this Jojo Siwa thing, I'm not surprised. It was probably Hollywood's idea. Yeah, put out this song. We're going to exploit the fact that you're going through these changes coming into adulthood, and we're going to exploit it because when we put this out, people are going to be upset. The amount of upsetness is going to bring more attraction to the video. It's the only reason I even heard of the song in the first place is because everybody was doing these videos making fun of her. And I was like, what is this song? And let me go and listen to it. Right? This is the world we live in. So yes, you're right. On Judgment Day, this will happen. It will happen. And yes, we will be held accountable, including us, the body of Christ. I'll be held accountable for my own careless words as well. Who am I to now go and sit there and judge somebody else? Who am I? And when I say judge somebody else, I mean, think that like, because they're acting that way. To me, when I see these girls, when I see these young women and the way they're behaving, I think they need Jesus and they need love. They need compassion. They need some people that care about them. They need people that are going to say, you know what? What is going on? What has happened has been wrong. You know what I'm saying? They need understanding because they're some of the strongest people ever, because some of these people sitting there commenting, you couldn't deal with 1% of the amount of criticism, hatred, death threats, you name it, that these people have. You couldn't do the job that they do. You couldn't do anything close to what they're doing, and you sit there on your high horse of self-righteousness feeling better than yourself. Shame on you. Shame on you, because you don't know what it's like to be in that position. And if you were, a lot of you would fumble and crumble worse than they are. And I'm just grateful every day to see that these women and a lot of these people are still alive, because it means that they have hope for tomorrow. And I pray they find the Lord, because honestly, sometimes I think God is the only one who really can have the type of patience, compassion, but also conviction and guidance and correction that is necessary through the blood of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, which is the greatest power of all. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. But yeah, I don't know. Society has failed these child stars and just fails children in general. I honestly believe that I honestly feel that children today are orphans. No one's taking responsibility for them. Everyone's just doing the bare minimum until they become 18 years old and then being like, oh, we don't know how they turned out like this, and now you just got to figure everything out by yourself. And if you don't immediately do it, then we're all going to just say you're an idiot. And this is what's wrong with the younger generation. Horror. Disgusting behavior. That's all I have to say.